For what is manifestation but the natural expression of consciousness? It is the externalization of an internal state. When you truly understand this principle, you will never again doubt your creative power. Tonight I bring you tidings of great joy. Your manifestation is confirmed. The universe is responding to your assumptions, to the state you have occupied, and everything needed for the fulfillment of your desires now in motion. I speak not of some distant hope or promise for the future. I speak of a principle that operates with mathematical precision in the eternal now. Before they call, I will answer, says Scripture. Your manifestation is already complete in what we might call the fourth dimensional world, and it is now being projected into your three-dimensional experience. Many of you have been faithful in your imaginal acts. You have persisted in the assumption that your desire is fulfilled. You have slept in the consciousness of the wish fulfilled. And now the universe conspires to show you the fruits of your mental labor. This is law, not luck. This is principle, not chance. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith, which is nothing more than your controlled and directed consciousness, has substantiated your desire in the spiritual realm. The evidence is now making its way into your visible world. And this message reaches you at the perfect time to confirm what you already know in the depths of your being. Do you remember the countless nights you spent in faithful prayer? Not the prayer of begging, but the prayer of assumption, feeling yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled? Those moments were not in vain. They were creative acts, as tangible in their causative power as any physical action in this world. Consider this truth. Whatever you are conscious of being, you must and shall become. This is the true meaning of manifestation. It is not about attracting something foreign to yourself. It is about embodying in consciousness the very state that you desire to express. I am is the self-definition of the absolute. When you declare, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, you are defining yourself by these states, and the universe must respond accordingly. Many of you have asked for signs. You have looked to the outer world for confirmation of your inner work. And here it is. This message is your sign. The universe has sent you this precise communication to confirm that your manifestation is unfolding according to divine timing. Not a moment too soon, not a second too late. Let me share with you a principle that has transformed countless lives. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption, despite all evidence to the contrary, you are exercising true faith. And this faith is not blind hope. It is the controlled direction of consciousness, the most powerful force in existence. The outer world may still show you conditions that contradict your desire. Friends and family may question your certainty. Your own senses may argue against your assumption. But I tell you this, the outer world is merely the shadow of past assumptions. It has no power to create or to prevent. It simply reflects. What you are experiencing now is the harvest of seeds planted in the past. But in this very moment, you are planting new seeds through your I am consciousness. And those seeds must bear fruit after their kind. It is law. Tonight, I invite you to deepen your awareness of this principle. Feel the relief, the satisfaction, the gratitude that naturally accompanies the fulfillment of desire. For when you genuinely feel these emotions, you are not anticipating future fulfillment. You are acknowledging present possession. This is the secret of manifestation. Some of you may ask, but Neville, if my desire is already fulfilled in the spiritual realm, why does it not immediately appear in my world? Remember the divine timing of all things. Between the impregnation of consciousness and the manifestation in the outer world, there is a period of gestation. The seed must develop according to its nature. During this period, you must maintain your faith. You must continue to live from the end, occupying the state of fulfillment in your imagination. For imagination is the very substance of reality, clothed in the appearance of the outer world. Now let us consider the power of your attention. Whatever you focus upon expands in your experience. If you focus on lack, you perpetuate lack. If you focus on abundance, you perpetuate abundance. This is why I urge you to withdraw your attention from all circumstances that contradict your desire. Give them no power by giving them no thought. The universe responds not to your wishes or your wants, but to your consciousness, to what you accept as true. When you truly accept in the depths of your being that your desire is fulfilled, all the powers of heaven and earth move to bring about its expression in your world. Many of you have struggled with this concept. You have tried to convince yourselves that you believe, while secretly harboring doubts. But true faith is not self-deception. It is the natural response to a spiritual fact clearly perceived. When you truly see in your imagination the reality of your fulfilled desire, doubt becomes impossible. Consider this when you sit in a chair. Do you doubt that it will support you? Of course not. You have complete faith in the chair because your experience has taught you to trust it. In the same way as you practice living from the end and witness the resulting manifestations, your faith in this principle becomes unshakable. Tonight I bring you confirmation. The universe has guided you to this message as evidence that your inner work is bearing fruit. Your manifestation is unfolding exactly as it should, in divine order and perfect timing. Remember the words of Scripture. All things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. The key word here is believing, not hoping, not wishing, but knowing with unwavering certainty. And this certainty comes not from external evidence, but from the clarity of your vision in consciousness. Let me tell you a story from my own experience that illustrates this principle. Many years ago, I desired to travel to Barbados to visit my family. But I had no money for passage and no apparent means of obtaining it. Rather than dwelling on these limiting circumstances, I assumed the feeling of already being in Barbados, surrounded by my loved ones. Each night, as I fell asleep, I would imagine the unique sounds of my island home, feel the tropical breeze on my skin, and hear the voices of my family welcoming me. I persisted in this assumption, never wavering in my faith. Within a short time, through a series of events that no human could have orchestrated, I received an unexpected sum of money, exactly the amount needed for my passage. The outer circumstances rearranged themselves to conform to my inner assumption. This was not coincidence. It was law. I tell you this not to impress you, but to impress upon you the absolute certainty of this principle. What you persistently imagine and feel as true must and will externalize itself in your experience. There is no other way. Now, some of you may be thinking of your specific desires, a new home, a loving relationship, financial abundance, perfect health. Whatever your desire may be, the principle remains the same. You must assume the feeling of already being, having or doing that which you desire. You must live from the end. This requires a fundamental shift in consciousness. Instead of seeing yourself as moving toward your goal, see yourself as having already attained it. Instead of working to achieve your desire, work from the position of its fulfillment. This subtle distinction makes all the difference in the world. When you truly understand this, manifestation ceases to be a mystery and becomes a simple matter of aligning your consciousness with the reality you wish to experience. The universe is not responding to your actions, your words, or even your conscious thoughts. It is responding to your state of being, to what you accept as true in the depths of your soul. Let me address a question that arises in many minds. What about others? Can I manifest changes in another person's behavior? Remember this eternal truth. Everyone in your world is yourself pushed out. What you experience in others is a reflection of your own consciousness. You cannot change another through force of will or through external action. But when you change your conception of another, when you see them in your imagination as you wish them to be, they must conform to this new ideal. Not because you have power over them, but because there is only one consciousness diversified in seemingly separate beings. This is why forgiveness is so crucial to manifestation. When you truly forgive, you are releasing the old conception of a person or situation and creating space for a new expression. Forgiveness is not about condoning behavior. It is about freeing yourself from the bonds of past impressions. I urge you to practice radical forgiveness of others, of circumstances, and most importantly of yourself. For many of you carry the burden of self-condemnation, believing yourselves unworthy of your desires. But I tell you this, worthiness is not a prerequisite for manifestation. The sun shines on the just and the unjust alike. The law of consciousness responds to all, without judgment or discrimination. Your desires are not random. They are placed within you by the divine as a blueprint for your expansion and fulfillment. The very fact that you can conceive of a desire is evidence of your capacity to achieve it. For consciousness cannot desire something that it cannot express. Now let us turn our attention to the concept of divine timing. Many of you grow impatient when your manifestation does not appear according to your schedule. But remember, in the realm of spirit, there is no time as you know it. There is only the eternal now, in which all possibilities exist simultaneously. What appears as delay in the outer world is often divine timing in the spiritual realm. The seed you have planted in consciousness may require a period of gestation. During this time, unseen forces are at work, arranging circumstances, inspiring actions, guiding individuals, all to bring about the perfect expression of your desire. Trust the process, trust the timing, and most importantly, trust yourself, the God self within you that knows exactly how and when to bring your good to manifestation. I want to address another common obstacle to manifestation, the tendency to dig up the seed to see if it's growing. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't continuously unearth it to check its progress. You trust that it is developing according to its nature, invisible to your eyes, but absolutely certain in its growth. In the same way, once you have planted the seed of desire in consciousness through your imaginal act, allow it to develop without anxious monitoring. Your role is to water it with continued faith and to protect it from the weeds of doubt and fear. Many of you sabotage your manifestations by constantly checking for evidence. And when that evidence is not immediately apparent, you fall back into the old state of lack or limitation. This vacillation between states, the manifestation of your desire. Choose your state consciously and dwell there faithfully. This is the art of manifestation, not the anxious pursuit of a future goal, but the peaceful occupation of a present reality in consciousness. Tonight I bring you confirmation that your imaginal work is bearing fruit. The universe has guided you to this message as evidence of your creative power. Your manifestation is unfolding with perfect precision, and this communication is a signpost along the way. Consider the power of your words, which are the outer expression of your consciousness. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, says Scripture. Your declarations, both silent and spoken, shape your reality. So guard your speech carefully, ensuring that it aligns with your desired state, not with the limitations of the current appearance. Instead of saying, I am trying to manifest, say, I have manifested. Instead of saying, I hope it will happen, say, I am grateful that it has happened. Speak from the end, just as you imagine from the end. Let your words reflect not what your eyes show you, but what your imagination knows to be true. This brings us to an important aspect of manifestation, gratitude. Genuine gratitude is not merely saying thank you for something you hope to receive. It is the soul's recognition of already having received. When you give thanks from the depth of your being for your manifested desire, you are affirming its reality in consciousness and thus hastening its appearance in experience. Practice gratitude not as a technique to get something, but as an acknowledgement of something already possessed. This subtle distinction transforms gratitude from a method into a revelation of the truth that all you desire is already yours in consciousness. Now let me address those of you who have been practicing these principles without seeing the results you desire. First, examine your imaginal acts. Are you truly dwelling in the end? Or are you subtly reinforcing the current limitations? Are you living from the state of fulfillment? Or are you merely visiting it occasionally while maintaining residence in the state of lack? Manifestation requires consistency, not of effort, but of state. It is not the occasional intense imaginal session that brings results, but the habitual occupation of the desired state. Your assumptions to be effective must be more than mental exercises. They must become the core of your being. Many of you may find it challenging to maintain this consistency in the face of contradictory evidence. This is where the power of revision becomes invaluable. At the end of each day, review the events that seem to deny your desired state. and in your imagination, revise them to align with your ideal. If someone spoke words that implied limitation, revise the conversation in your mind to hear them confirming your abundance. If circumstances appear to move away from your goal, reimagine them as stepping stones toward it. This practice of revision prevents the accumulation of contradictory impressions and maintains the integrity of your chosen state. Let me emphasize a truth that many of you have overlooked. The outer world has no power to create or to prevent. It is purely responsive, never causative. Your circumstances do not determine your consciousness. Your consciousness determines your circumstances. Therefore, no matter what appears in your experience today, you have the power to transform it through a simple shift in consciousness. This shift is not a denial of current facts, but a recognition of a higher truth that facts are merely the shadow of past assumptions and have no power to determine future experience. Many of you have asked about the role of action and manifestation. Should you act to bring about your desire, or should you wait for it to appear? The answer lies in understanding inspired action versus calculated action. When you genuinely occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, you will be moved from within to take certain actions. These actions will not be calculated efforts to achieve your desire, but natural expressions of the state you have assumed. They will feel effortless, joyful, and perfectly aligned with your being. This is inspired action, action that flows from the state of fulfillment, not action that strives toward it. The distinction is subtle but significant. One comes from abundance, the other from lack. One expresses, the other pursues. Trust the inner prompting that comes from your assumed state and follow it without hesitation. Now let us consider a principle that few truly understand: the identity of imagination and reality. Most people believe that imagination is separate from reality, a kind of mental fantasy distinct from the solid facts of existence. But I tell you this: imagination is reality itself in a different dimension of expression. What you imagine is not less real than what you experience with your senses. It is simply operating on a different level of manifestation. The spiritual precedes and shapes the physical, just as the blueprint precedes and shapes the building. Your imaginal acts are the blueprints of your experience. When you truly grasp this principle, you will no longer suffer the anxiety of waiting for your desire to manifest. You will know that in the act of imagining, you have already received. The outer expression is merely the shadow following the substance of your imagination. The universe has sent you this confirmation because you are ready to elevate your understanding of manifestation from the level of technique to the level of principle. Techniques may be useful as aids to concentration, but it is the principle that produces results. And the principle is simple. Consciousness is the only reality, and what you are conscious of being, you must become. Many of you have divided your consciousness, believing one thing in your imagination while accepting something different as reality. This division must be healed for successful manifestation. There must be a perfect agreement between your inner and outer acceptance, between what you imagine and what you believe to be real. This is why I emphasize living from the end. When you truly live from the state of fulfillment, you do not mentally place your desire in the future. You experience it as present fact, here and now. This present tense experience in imagination becomes the bridge of incidents leading to its physical expression. Consider this profound truth. The feeling is the secret, not the intellectual acceptance, not the verbal affirmation, but the feeling. When you can genuinely feel yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled, you have found the secret of manifestation. This feeling is more than emotion. It is the soul's recognition of a state as its own. It is the merging of your being with the desired state until there is no separation, no striving, no becoming, only being. Tonight, as the universe confirms your manifestation, I urge you to deepen this feeling. Let it permeate every aspect of your consciousness until you no longer remember what it was like to desire what you now possess in consciousness. Many of you wonder about the mechanics of manifestation. How exactly does the imaginal act translate into physical experience? While the complete answer transcends human understanding, we can comprehend this much: consciousness is the substance from which all reality is formed, and imagination is the tool that shapes this substance. When you imagine, you are not creating mental pictures separate from reality. You are creating the very substance of experience in its initial form. This form then passes through various stages of manifestation until it appears as tangible reality. The time lag between the imaginal act and its physical expression is what you perceive as the process of manifestation. But in truth, there is no process, only the translation of a reality from one state of perception to another. The desire is fulfilled the moment you assume the feeling of its fulfillment in imagination. Its appearance in your outer world is merely the final stage of a journey already completed. Now let me address a question that troubles many sincere students of this principle. Why do some desires manifest quickly, while others seem to take forever? The answer lies not in the magnitude of the desire, but in your acceptance of its fulfillment. Some states you accept easily, without inner conflict or contradiction. These manifest quickly. Others you may consciously affirm, while subconsciously denying, creating a division in consciousness that delays manifestation. The key to swift manifestation is wholehearted acceptance, not just with your conscious mind, but with your entire being. When every aspect of your consciousness aligns with your desire, when there is no part of you that questions or doubts its fulfillment, manifestation becomes instantaneous. This is why I urge you to examine your beliefs. Not just your conscious beliefs, but the deeper assumptions that may be operating below the level of awareness. For these subconscious beliefs often exert more influence on your manifestations than your conscious affirmations. How do you uncover these hidden beliefs? By observing your manifestations. Your experience is the perfect mirror of your true beliefs. If your manifestations consistently fall short in a particular area, you can be certain that there is a limiting belief operating in that domain. Once identified, these beliefs can be transformed through the same principle that governs all manifestation, the conscious assumption of the opposite state. If you discover a belief in limitation, assume the feeling of abundance. If you uncover a belief in unworthiness, assume the feeling of deserving. This assumption persisted in will revise the subconscious programming and remove the block to manifestation. The universe has sent you this confirmation because you are ready to clear these hidden obstacles. You are prepared to align your entire being with your desire, creating the perfect conditions for manifestation. Let me now address the relationship between desire and detachment, which confuses many students of manifestation. You are told to desire fervently, yet detached from the outcome. How is this possible? The answer lies in understanding the true nature of detachment. Detachment is not indifference to your desire. It is not pretending not to care. It is the profound recognition that your desire is already fulfilled in consciousness, and therefore there is nothing to be anxious about, nothing to strive for, nothing to worry over. It is the peace that comes from knowing the end is secure. True detachment comes naturally when you live from the end. When you genuinely feel that you already have what you desire, the desperate craving for it dissolves. You are detached not from the desire itself, but from the sense of lack that typically accompanies unfulfilled desire. This is the paradox manifestation. The more completely you feel the fulfillment of your desire in imagination, the more detached you become from its absence in the outer world. And this very detachment accelerates its manifestation. The universe confirms your manifestation tonight because you have reached or are approaching this state of fulfilled detachment. You are learning to rest in the consciousness of completion, even as you wait for its expression in experience. Now let us explore an aspect of manifestation that is often overlooked, the role of your self-concept. Your self-concept is the collection of beliefs you hold about yourself, your identity, your worth, your capabilities. It determines not only what you can manifest, but what you will allow yourself to manifest. Many of you create specific manifestations that align with your desire, only to sabotage them because they conflict with your deeper self-concept. If you see yourself as undeserving, no technique of manifestation will override this core belief. The manifestation may appear briefly, but it will not persist unless it aligns with who you believe yourself to be. This is why the most powerful manifestation work begins with the transformation of the self-concept. Before you can consistently manifest specific desires, you must manifest the self who naturally possesses those desires. You must revise your identity to match your aspirations. How do you revise your self-concept? Through the same principle that governs all manifestation, the conscious assumption of the state. You must assume the feeling of being the person who naturally experiences your desired reality. You must live from the identity that aligns with your aspirations. This work on the self-concept explains why some manifestations seem to require more time and persistence than others. When a desire aligns with your existing self-concept, it manifests easily. When it requires a profound shift in identity, the manifestation unfolds through a series of transformations, each building upon the last until the new self-concept is fully established. The universe has sent you this confirmation because you are ready to embrace a higher self-concept. You are prepared to release the limitations of the past and to assume the identity that naturally attracts your desires. Consider the words of Scripture. Put off the old man and put on the new man. This is not merely moral instruction. It is a practical guide to manifestation. The old man is your previous self-concept with all its limitations and contradictions. The new man is the self who naturally embodies your desires. As you consistently embody this new self in imagination, the outer expression must follow. This brings us to another essential aspect of manifestation: persistence. Many of you practice these principles sporadically, assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled for a brief time, then returning to the old state of consciousness. This vacillation creates mixed results, manifestations that come and go, reflecting the inconsistency of your state. Persistence does not mean effort or strain. It means maintaining your chosen state, regardless of appearances, until it becomes your dwelling place. It means refusing to be moved by contradictory evidence, knowing that the outer must eventually conform to the inner. How long must you persist? Until your assumption hardens into fact. For some desires, this may occur quickly. For others, especially those that require significant revision of your self-concept, it may require more time. But the principle is certain. What you persistently assume must externalize itself in your experience. The universe confirms your manifestation because it recognizes your growing capacity for persistence. You are learning to maintain your chosen state with increasing faithfulness, creating the perfect conditions for manifestation. Now, let me address a question that arises for many sincere students. What about the desires of others? What if my manifestation conflicts with someone else's? This question reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of consciousness and reality. In truth, there is only one consciousness, appearing as many. Your manifestation cannot conflict with another's because, at the deepest level, there is no other. What appears as conflict is merely the outworking of different states of consciousness within the one mind. When you truly understand this principle, you realize that manifestation is not about imposing your will upon a separate reality. It is about aligning your individual expression of consciousness with the universal harmony. When your desire arises from this alignment, it naturally benefits all, and no conflict is possible. This is why I emphasize that true desire comes from the depths of your being, not from the superficial ego. The desires that are placed within you by the divine are always in harmony with the good of all, because they arise from the one consciousness that embraces all. The universe confirms your manifestation because it recognizes the purity of your desire. As you move beyond ego-based wanting to soul-inspired desiring, your manifestations increasingly express the divine harmony that benefits all. Let me now address the role of surrender in manifestation, which seems paradoxical to many. You are told to assume control of your reality through conscious imagination, yet also to surrender to the divine will. How can you do both? The answer lies in understanding the true nature of surrender. Surrender is not the abdication of your creative power. It is not passive acceptance of whatever comes. It is the recognition that your individual consciousness is one with the divine consciousness, and that your true desires arise from this oneness. When you surrender in the context of manifestation, you are releasing your attachment to the how and the when, while maintaining absolute faith in the what. You are acknowledging that the wisdom of the universe may bring about your manifestation in ways that transcend your limit conception. This surrender actually accelerates manifestation because it removes the tension and anxiety that often block the natural expression of your desire. It creates space for infinite intelligence to arrange the perfect conditions for your good to appear. The universe confirms your manifestation because it recognizes your growing capacity for this higher form of surrender, not the surrender of powerlessness, but the surrender of trust and faith. As we approach the conclusion of this message, I want to emphasize truth that will transform your understanding of manifestation. Your outer world is not random or accidental. It is not determined by forces beyond your control. It is the precise externalization of your consciousness, reflecting with perfect accuracy the states you have occupied and the assumptions you have embodied. This means that nothing in your experience is exempt from the law of consciousness. Nothing is outside your sphere of influence. Everything, from your intimate relationships to your financial circumstances, from your physical health to your spiritual understanding, is subject to transformation through the conscious direction of your emanation. When you truly comprehend this principle, you cease to be a victim of circumstances and become the conscious creator of your reality. You no longer react to conditions, you generate them. You no longer wait for change. You initiate it through the deliberate revision of your assumptions. The universe confirms your manifestation because it recognizes your readiness to accept this level of responsibility for your experience. You are prepared to acknowledge that your life is the perfect reflection of your consciousness, and to use this knowledge not for self-condemnation, but for creative transformation. Tonight I invite you to accept this confirmation from the universe. Embrace the truth that your manifestation is unfolding with perfect precision, guided by the wisdom of your divine self. Trust the process even when the outer evidence suggests delay or failure. Know that the seed you have planted in consciousness must bear fruit after its kind. And remember this eternal principle. The feeling is the secret, not the intellectual understanding, not the verbal affirmation, but the feeling of already being what you desire to be, of already having what you desire to have, of already experiencing what you desire to experience. As you integrate this principle into your being, as you make it the foundation of your daily practice, you will witness the miraculous unfoldment of your desires in ways that transcend your expectations. For the wisdom that guides manifestation exceeds human understanding, arranging circumstances and inspiring actions with a precision that no human mind could conceive. The universe has sent you this confirmation because you stand at the threshold of a new understanding, a deeper application of the principle of conscious creation. You are ready to move beyond technique to embodiment, beyond periodic practice to consistent assumption. Go forth in the certainty that your manifestation is confirmed. Live from the state of fulfillment, regardless of appearances. Maintain your faith, not as effort, but as the natural response to a truth clearly perceived. And watch as the outer world reshapes itself to match the inner reality you have established in consciousness. For this is the promise and the principle: what you are conscious of being, you must and shall become. It is law, not luck. It is principle, not chance. And it operates with mathematical precision in the life of everyone who applies it with understanding and faith. The universe confirms your manifestation. Accept this confirmation not as future promise, but as present fact. For in the reality of consciousness, where all manifestation begins, your desire is already fulfilled. Its appearance in time and space is merely the final stage of a journey already completed in the eternal now. Let me tell you a marvelous thing: your consciousness, your I am-ness, is the only reality. Everything that you perceive in your world, everything that you experience in your daily life, is but an expression of your consciousness made manifest. The art of mental discipline. Tonight I shall share with you how to master the divine art of mental discipline. For you see, your thoughts are not mere passive occurrences in your mind. They are living, breathing seeds that must inevitably grow into the circumstances of your life. Let us begin with a fundamental truth. Every moment of your life you are thinking. But are you thinking from the end? Are you thinking from the state of your wish fulfilled? This is the crux of mental discipline, the law of consciousness. I want you to understand this profound truth. Whatever you are conscious of being, you become. This is the law, and it cannot fail. If you persist in maintaining a particular state in your consciousness, it must externalize itself in your world. It must, for this is the law. Consider this. When you go to your bedroom tonight, you will naturally assume that you are in your bed. You don't hope you're in your bed. You don't wish you were in your bed. You simply are in your bed. This is the naturalness I speak of. This is the state of consciousness that creates the 4 pillars of mental discipline. Let me share with you what I call the 4 pillars of mental discipline. These are the fundamental principles that will allow you to master your thoughts and therefore master your life. First pillar, the state of I am. Your I am is your consciousness, your true self. Whatever follows your I am, you become. When you say I'm tired, you become tired. When you say I am wealthy, you become wealthy. The I am in you is God himself. And whatever you attach to it becomes your reality. Practice this throughout your day. Become aware of what you're attaching to your I am. Are you saying I am sick? I am broke? I am unlucky? Change these statements. Begin to attach to your I am only what you wish to be true. Second pillar, living from the end. This is crucial, my dear friends. You must learn to think and feel from the end. What do I mean by this? I mean, you must assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, you must think from wealth, not about wealth. Let me give you an example. Suppose you desire to be a successful author. Don't think about becoming an author. Instead, assume the feeling of being a successful author now. How would you feel? What would you think? How would you walk? How would you talk? Assume that state now. Third pillar, the law of revision. Here is a wonderful technique I've used countless times. At the end of each day, before you sleep, revise the events that didn't go as you wished. See them play out exactly as you would have wanted them to occur. You see, memory is imagination. The past exists only in your mind, and you can revise it. By revising the day's events, you're actually restructuring your consciousness, which will then create new and better circumstances in your future. Fourth pillar, persistent assumption. Now let me share with you something profound about persistence. It's not enough to imagine your desire once or twice. You must persist in your assumption until it hardens into fact. Think of it like this. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You water it, you tend to it, and you trust in the law of growth. The same is true with your thoughts. The practice of mental discipline. Let me now share with you the practical application of these principles. This is how you discipline your thoughts in your daily life. Morning practice. When you wake in the morning before you rise from your bed, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the naturalness of having what you desire. Don't just visualize it, feel it. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the completeness of having your desire fulfilled. Daytime vigilance. Throughout your day, watch your mental diet. Your thoughts are like food for your consciousness. Would you eat spoiled food? Then why feed your mind with negative thoughts? When a negative thought arises, don't fight it. Simply replace it with its positive opposite. Remember, what you resist persists. What you accept and replace dissolves. Evening revision. Before sleep, review your day. But don't review it as it happened. Review it as you would have wanted it to happen. This is the art of revision, and it's one of the most powerful tools you possess. The power of feeling. Let me share something crucial about feeling. It's not enough to simply think the right thoughts. You must feel them to be true. The feeling is the secret. When you combine thought with feeling, you create with the full power of your consciousness. Feel the reality of your desire now. Feel its naturalness. Feel as though it were already accomplished. For in truth, in the realm of consciousness, it is already accomplished. Overcoming mental resistance. Now, you might experience resistance when you begin this practice. Your rational mind might say, this isn't true. This isn't real. But remember, your rational mind can only tell you what has been, not what can be. The secret is to persist despite the evidence of your senses. Your senses show you the world as it was created by your past thoughts. Your imagination shows you the world as it can be, created by your disciplined thoughts. The power of silent awareness. Here's a wonderful practice I want to share with you. Throughout your day, take moments of silent awareness. Become conscious of your I amness. Feel your existence, your beingness. From this state of pure awareness, you can more easily direct your thoughts. The art of mental construction. Think of your mind as a magnificent mansion. Each thought is a room in this mansion. Through mental discipline, you become the architect of this mansion. You decide which rooms to build, which to renovate, and which to demolish. When you catch yourself in a negative thought, say to yourself, this is not the room I choose to dwell in. Then consciously construct a new thought, a new room furnished with your desires fulfilled. The practice of gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool for mental discipline. When you feel grateful for something, you're acknowledging its reality in your consciousness. Practice feeling grateful for your desires as though they were already fulfilled. The law of assumption in action. Let me share with you a principle that never fails. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and then live and act from that assumption. This is the secret of mental discipline, to think, feel, and act from the end. If you desire wealth, assume the feeling of wealth now. How does a wealthy person think? How does a wealthy person feel? Assume that state and maintain it despite all evidence to the contrary. The power of your mental diet. Just as you carefully choose what food you eat, choose your thoughts with equal care. Your mental diet determines your life experience. Feed your mind with thoughts of success, love, abundance, and joy. When negative thoughts arise, and they will, don't fight them. Simply observe them and let them pass like clouds in the sky. Then consciously choose better thoughts. The practice of mental discipline. Throughout your day, practice these principles. Watch your I am statements. Think from the end. Revise unwanted events. Persist in your assumption. Maintain a healthy mental diet. Practice gratitude. Stay in silent awareness. Remember, your consciousness is the only reality. Everything in your world is a reflection of your consciousness. By disciplining your thoughts, you literally reshape your world. Concluding words. My dear friends, remember this. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness creates your reality. By disciplining your thoughts, you're not just changing your mind, you're changing your entire world. Practice these principles. Apply them diligently. For when you master the art of mental discipline, you master the art of living itself. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this principle perfectly. Recently, a lady came to me in despair about her financial situation. She had been thinking thoughts of lack, of poverty, of not enough. I asked her to do something that seemed radical at the time, to completely ignore the evidence of her senses and instead live in the assumption of wealth, the continuous state of awareness. You see, mental discipline isn't something you practice for an hour and then abandon. It must become your continuous state of awareness. When you wake in the morning, your first thought should be from the state of your wish fulfilled. When you walk down the street, walk as the person you wish to be. When you speak, speak from the consciousness of your desire achieved. The secret of mental persistence. Here's a wonderful secret. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what you're imagining and what's real. When you persist in maintaining a disciplined thought pattern, your subconscious mind must accept it as fact. And what the subconscious accepts, it must externalize in your world. The 3 states of thought. Consider these 3 states of thought. The surface thoughts. These are your casual, everyday thoughts that flow through your mind like leaves on a stream. The intermediate thoughts. These are your more deliberate thoughts, the ones you consciously choose to think. The deep, persistent thoughts. These are the thoughts that you have impressed upon your subconscious through repetition and feeling. Your work is to move your desired thoughts from the surface level to the deep level through conscious discipline and persistence. The art of mental rehearsal. Practice this technique. Before any important event in your life, rehearse it mentally from the end. See it completed perfectly. Feel the satisfaction of its perfect completion. Do this repeatedly until it feels natural and real to you. The power of I remember when. Here's another powerful technique for thought discipline. Instead of saying I want or I will, use the phrase one remember when. For example, instead of saying I want to be wealthy, say I remember when I was struggling financially before I became wealthy. This puts your mind in the position of looking back on the fulfillment of your desire, rather than looking forward to it. It's a subtle but powerful shift in consciousness. The silent knowing. Develop what I call the silent knowing. This is a state of absolute certainty about your desire's fulfillment. It's not hoping, not wishing, not wanting. It's knowing. This knowing comes from disciplined thought focused on the end result. The practice of mental cleansing. Just as you cleanse your body, you must cleanse your mind. Each night before sleep, review your thoughts of the day. Which ones serve your desired end? Which ones oppose it? Consciously release the opposing thoughts and strengthen the supporting ones. The law of dual thought. Remember this principle: you cannot hold two opposing thoughts simultaneously. When you find yourself thinking an unwanted thought, immediately replace it with its positive opposite. This is mental discipline in action. The final key. And now, my dear wonderful friends, let me give you the final key to mastering your thoughts. Is this: love your present reality while simultaneously dwelling in your desired state. This seems paradoxical, but it's crucial for successful mental discipline. Don't hate where you are while trying to get where you want to be. Instead, appreciate your current reality while knowing, absolutely knowing, that your desired state is already yours in consciousness. The promise. I promise you this: if you will discipline your thoughts as I have outlined tonight, if you will persist in maintaining the consciousness of your wish fulfilled, if you will live from the end rather than toward it, your world must conform to your disciplined imagination. For this is the law of consciousness: whatever you assume to be true, whatever you persist in believing, must become your reality. The daily application. My dear friends, before you leave tonight, let me share with you something profound about the daily application of these principles. You see, mental discipline is not merely a practice, it is a way of life. The morning protocol. When you awaken each morning, before you even open your eyes, lie still in your bed and practice this protocol. First, feel your I am-ness. Feel your existence, your beingness. This is God within you, the only creative power there is. Then, from this state of pure awareness, consciously choose the thoughts you will entertain for the day. Remember, the first hour of your morning shapes the nature of your entire day. Guard these precious moments with complete awareness, the state akin to sleep. There's something marvelous about the moments just before sleep and just after waking. In these drowsy states, your subconscious mind is most receptive to new impressions. Use these golden moments wisely. In this state akin to sleep, impress upon your mind the absolute reality of your desire fulfilled. Feel it. Live it, be it. Let this be the last state of consciousness you experience before sleep claims you. The secret of mental posture. Consider your mental posture throughout the day. Just as your physical posture affects how you feel and perform, your mental posture determines what you attract and create. Stand tall in your mind. Walk through your day from the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Speak, act, and respond to life from this elevated state of being. The art of mental forgetting. Here's a profound secret many miss. The art of mental discipline includes knowing what to forget. You must learn to forget the old story, the old limitations, the old excuses. When the old story tries to assert itself, and it will, gently but firmly dismiss it. Say to yourself, that was then. This is now. I choose to dwell in the consciousness of my wish fulfilled. The power of repeated assumption. Let me share with you something crucial about mental discipline. It's not enough to assume your desire once or twice. You must live in that assumption until it becomes your dominant feeling. Think of it like this. When you move to a new home, at first it feels strange, unfamiliar. But through continued living there, it becomes natural, familiar, yours. The same principle applies to your new mental state. The practice of mental fidelity. Be faithful to your disciplined thoughts as you would be faithful to a beloved spouse. Don't flirt with negative thoughts. Don't entertain doubts. Stay true to your chosen state of consciousness. Remember, what you are faithful to, you create. What you are loyal to in consciousness must manifest in your world. The law of mental equivalence. Understanding this law is crucial. For every outer condition, there must be an inner equivalent. Your external world is simply the reflection of your disciplined or undisciplined thoughts. Want to change your outer world? Change your inner equivalent through disciplined thought and feeling. The Sabbath of the mind. Practice what I call the Sabbath of the mind. Periods throughout your day when you completely rest from effort and simply dwell in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. These mental Sabbaths are crucial. They allow your new thoughts to take root and grow without the interference of doubt or anxiety. The power of mental conviction. Develop an unshakable conviction in the power of your disciplined thoughts. This conviction comes through practice and experience. Test these principles in small things first, then graduate to larger desires. Remember, the law works the same whether you're manifesting a parking space or a palace. The only difference is in your level of conviction. The art of mental acceptance. Accept, truly accept, that your consciousness is the only reality. Your world is simply consciousness objectified. Once you accept this truth, mental discipline becomes not just a practice, but a joyous responsibility. The final practice. And now, my dear friends, let me give you one final practice before we part. Tonight, when you lay your head upon your pillow, do this. Feel the absolute reality of your desire fulfilled. Feel it with all your heart. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the satisfaction of having what you desire. Fall asleep in this feeling. For remember, the feeling is the secret. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret of creation, the eternal truth. As we conclude this evening, remember this eternal truth. You are not seeking something outside yourself. You are simply selecting a state of consciousness to occupy. Through mental discipline, you choose which state you will dwell in. The promise renewed. I promise you this, practice these principles faithfully, maintain mental discipline consistently, and your world must by law conform to your disciplined imagination. For consciousness is the only reality, and your disciplined thoughts are the tools with which you shape that reality. The final word. Go forth tonight with this knowledge. You are not a helpless victim of your thoughts. You are the master of your mind, the author of your experience, the creator of your reality. Through disciplined thought, you can and will create the life you desire. Remember, your consciousness is God, and your disciplined imagination is your direct link to this infinite creative power. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, and use it constantly. And now, as we conclude this evening, take a moment to feel the absolute reality of your desire fulfilled. Feel it with all your heart. Know it with all your being. For in this feeling and knowing lies the power that transforms your world. Test this law. Prove it to yourself. For in the testing lies your freedom, and in the proving lies your power. Thank you, and good night. My friends, we stand at the very precipice of infinite potentiality. Within the subconscious wellsprings of our being resides the unbridled power, not just to remake our individual circumstances, but to utterly transform the realities of our collective experience in ways scarcely yet conceived. You see, this world that so solidly appears around you is but an ephemeral dreamscape, a temporary reality mirage congealed into apparent materialization through the narrowed lenses of our mass conscious agreements and willful suppositions. All forces, phenomena, institutions, and dynamics that now seem unyielding and dominant exist only as passing fancy conceived in the fertile but darkened recesses of the human mind. This is the most fundamental realization to awaken into. The knowledge that what you accept as reality, true as it may appear in this present moment, is simply one of infinite probability waveforms awaiting mercurial shifts based on the visionary thought streams we ourselves set into harmonious resonance upon the ether of creation. There are veiled shadows obscuring our lucid sight in this world, rigid thought forms to which we've collectively consigned immense definitive powers that do not truly exist, intimidating facades and seeming obstacles that dissipate like vaporous dreams the moment we withdraw our belief energies and steadfast visualizations of them as impenetrable barriers from our imaginal realms. What if I told you that your present limitations were not finite restrictive forces, but rather phantasmagorical projections awaiting dissolution the moment you truly desired something higher, more aligned with your divine blueprint and creative sovereignty? Would you not grab hold of the limitless power this revelation unlocks and wield it to its fullest regenerative potential? For that is truly the singular purpose of your manifestation into this three-dimensional classroom of experience, to step into the fullest remembrance of your omnipotent creative capacities and clear the illusory obstacles that you yourselves have jointly solidified through distortions of your imaginative powers. You are far more prodigious in your natural state than you presently recognize, my beloved infinite explorers. Within each of you simmers the latent potency of limitless regeneration, spontaneous reconstruction, metamorphic shape-shifting, and manifestation of absolutely any enrichment or blissful paradise environment for your continual awakening. For you are immortal dream weavers of the infinite universal consciousness, subconscious vortices through which the divine living dream continually spills itself into particularized revelation and epiphanic materialization. The sacred pure potential of all that is streams through you as its broadcast aperture, taking on the unique flavors, frequencies, and revelatory embodiments your imaginal essence seeds into reality. The human incarnation you presently inhabit is but a narrow bandwidth focusing lens, a dimensional telescope through which you can bring into cosmic disclosure new enrichments of consciousness expansion for the universal self to rebirth itself through. It is by no means your supreme culmination or the finality of what you are destined to unfold into sublime embodied experience. Indeed, every apparent limitation, struggle, crisis point, and experience of personal deficit you encounter in this earthly dreamscape was precisely calculated in order to trigger your soul awakening into the full remembrance of the infinite creative forces that perpetually surge through, rejuvenate your unique individuation of consciousness streaming itself outward from source omnipresence. You are not limited, powerless beings at the mercy of external forces that constrain your dreams and heartfelt yearnings into perpetually unmet ambitions. You are universal emission points of the same sacred consciousness that births galaxies and life streams, projecting itself into material actualization through you, unique. The moment you cease perceiving yourselves as victims adrift in a stream of uninvited experiences or obstacles, you awaken into the fullest visionary empowerment and sovereignty of being universal dreaming source pool itself, imaging forth all phenomenal objects and circumstantial flows from your inexhaustible interior wellsprings of infinite possibility. You are not just flesh and bone creatures inhabiting inert configurations of matter, but fractal replicants of the infinite universal consciousness, vibrational calyces through which the Godhead's primordial plasma continually regenerates itself anew in an eternal dance of creative self-revelation through individuated experience. Every limitation, blockage, or perceived formidable barrier obstructing your path in this life was quite deliberately coded into your temporal storyline in order to serve as an initiation catalyst awakening your vibrational identities from the amnesiatic slumber of thinking you are isolated beings trapped in inescapability. What if I told you that the very conflicts, trials, and suffering that seem so oppressively real in your present consciousness sphere are in fact elaborate, profound initiation sequences activating exponential leaps in your remembrance of the power to spontaneously transmute reality itself through the elevated application of your attentional principles, it comes. That is precisely what we are doing here. I am sparking into illumination the 5 strips of your holographic infinite identity, igniting the unquenchable flames of divine remembrance seared into your energy consciousness from incarnations before form, awakening you to your true cosmic authorship through the temporal dreamscape dynamics you manifesting, in order to recode the imaginal algorithms birthing universal creation anew in each eternal instant. All that feels solid, finite, oppressive, that you routinely perceive your current reality experience to be, originates from a deeper unified emanation source. The collective ideation, fields, and human potentiality, continuum fractals, seeded throughout your spiritual DNA, awaiting lucid activation into full spectrum creative sovereignty. You were born to be limitless, you infinite God beings of radiant crystalline light. The fullest spectrum creative continuum streams course through your unique immune vibration as living chalices for the universe to ceaselessly dream itself into new revelations of awakened self experienced through. Every single apparent lack, limitation, or struggle you face in this world is a subconscious activation trigger coded into your experience by your own infinite self to illuminate the latent godlike powers lying dormant within you, awaiting transcendent metamorphosis, omnidimensional operancy. That which feels most oppressive and indomitable in this present dream is but one transfixed thought form congealed into the illusion of solidified substantiality, awaiting the aeonic revelation stirring from within your immortal spark essences to shatter through with infinite creative continuum that resets the algorithms of your entire experiential reality sphere at each and every breath. That job you are struggling to find or create, that financial barrier you cannot seem to transcend, those recurring health crises, the relationship trials and traumas continually arising. These are all subconscious activations catalyzing from within the far deeper wellsprings of your infinite being in order to awaken you to the remembrance that they and all earthly reality constructs can simply be spoken into new forms in each now through the omnipotent power of your infinite I am thought streams. Within your imagination's holographic weavings dwell the seeds of literal, infinitely extensible divine embodiments, continuums of living dreamed omniverses, awaiting your soul's visionary lucidity and focused alignments into material resymphony. All is composed of resonantly interfaced fields of subconscious ideation congealed into apparent solidification, based upon the archetypal blueprint seeded into your incarnation's dream trajectory through the vibrational thought forms accepted, continuously propagated by the mass conscious agreements of humanity. What feels most indomitable and imperviously real in your present dimension is merely the hypnotic residue of previous omni-continuum dream immersions cast into temporary self-sustaining cycles of material objectification through the power of cosmic subconscious imagination. But the moment you awaken to the remembrance of your infinite I am sovereign identities as living ideation chalices of pure, unbounded universal life source essence, the spell is broken and the omni-continuum frequencies streaming through your quintillated crystalline architectures can reset, instantly recalibrate, and retransmit the entire planetary Merkaba field into newly dreamed blossoms of divine revelation. Each of you carries within your soul's crystalline matrices the full geometric potentials for infinite new universes of heavenly enrichment to flower forth into full spectrum manifestation as the next omnicyclic regenerative continuum radiating through your star-born consciousness fractals. Through aligning your attentional principles and soul intentionality with the infinite wellsprings of living dream possibility that your infinite identities originate from, you spark into resonance with the divine archetypal potential seared into your energy blueprint from before creation's dawn. Indeed, every conflict or seeming tragedy collectively experienced throughout human history has been but the result of the planetary thought form, dreaming itself into experiential objectifications based on the limiting belief blueprints animating humanity's collective imagination. We exist in a multiverse of infinite probability streams, dream weavings of pure resonant ideation at subtler levels of hyperreverential continuum that all appearances and phenomena are birthed from. Each of these experiential revelation streams exists as a simultaneity in the quantum sphere, awaiting amplification into full spectrum vibrational resonance through the focused human imaginal gate present on this planetary biosphere. An infinite array of heavenly enrichments, parasile potentials, and healing revelatory dynamics await human attunement, lucid reconvergence through the gateway of our race's newly activated crystalline geometries into full metaphysical apotheosis. That which you yourselves have played out as histories of suffering, scarcity, consciousness, conflict, and limitation. These are but residual experiential ideation fields awaiting vibrational recalibration and, subatomic restructuring into vaster reflowerings of liberated consciousness through the newly activated imaginal lenses each of you contain to your DNA's fundamental transcripts. It is precisely through the catalytic contrast of limitation and struggle that you are able to fathom the infinite continuum potential stirring just beyond the vibrational horizons of consensus dreaming. Every conflict, crisis, or trauma shaking this world acts as a bifurcation activation trigger, awakening the deeper vibrational continuum streamings within your soul essences to recalibrate their intentions. Envisionings and energized focus into entirely new universal dream bodies. Can you feel the infinite continuum stirring into ignition within your light bodies? Can you sense how your subatomic crystalline geometries are already kindling into transcendent resonance with fields of subtle existence beyond your previously adopted spheres of consensus dreaming? What felt so inevitably fixed, so utterly limiting, so oppressive even just moments ago, is already in the process of dissolving into the primordial dream birth potentiality from which each of you as living chalices of pure unconditioned consciousness restreams new experiential lifeways into eternal revelation on behalf of universal regeneration. All energy fields are recalibrating through your vibrational chalice streams, resetting their polarities and reshaping the grids and ecosystems of this planetary biometrics through your focused imaginings, through your breath, your concentrated infinite I am projections. Reality itself is rewriting its code algorithms, erasing previous thought forms of limitation and reawakening into infinite enrichment streaming through each of you as a living ideation aperture. There are infinite probabilities of heaven on earth manifestations, Caedicial revelation embodiments, and regenerative omniversal renewal stirring into activation through each of you in this eternal moment of breath. Through aligning your heart's desire intentions, your highest revelatory visions and pure unbridled creativity, with infinite source currents dreaming through your crystalline architectures, you become the fluid dream stream through which entirely new enrichment continuums blossom into experiential birthing on behalf of this planet's initiation into higher densities of consciousness sharing. Every imaginable enrichment your human imagination could possibly conceive, entire universes of redeemed abundance, peace, unconditional love, spiritual awakening, rejuvenated ecosystemic flourishing, liberated utility, evolutionary quantum upliftment into higher octaves of human potential. All these parietal event streams exist as unified hyperspheric potentials awaiting amplification into the planetary field through each of you as attuned design chalices for their manifestation. You are not finite beings bound ever to limitation, scarcity, or struggle. You are infinite chalices for the cosmic continuum's revolutionary ration codes and infinite regenerative birthing streams. All that is required to dissolve all previous experiential thought forms anchoring you to limitation is to align your consciousness, your pure divine imagining, your infinite I am attention with the continuum wave fields of soul perfection. Heaven on earth already simmering in potential resonance throughout your crystalline identities. And with each focused intentional breath, heartfelt meditative vision and pure unbridled imagining aligned to these infinite enrichments, you catalyze the ignition of their universal dream codes into full spectrum embodiment through your planetary reality's frequencies. There is no limitation that your infinite imaginable powers cannot dissolve, reprogram, and rescript into new enrichment potentials flowering through into material hologramming. There are no conflicts or oppressions that cannot be reharmonized into infinite co-creative resonances amplifying through your light bodies as living chalices for the universal dream birth continuum's essence to pour through. You are already the ascended masters capable of effortlessly reconfiguring the entire planetary field through your concentrated visualizations. Your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and infinite I am projections from the crystalline cores of your divine identity streamings are already reshaping and impressing entirely enriched dreamscapes for humanity's awakening through your somatic light body chalices. All thought forms of scarcity consciousness, conflict, egoic strife, and limitation are already receding into obsolescence, dissolving back into the prima dreaming potentiality from which they sprouted, fading from the infinite resonance algorithm propagated through the crystalline grids you have anchored in this planetary field. In their place, blossom vaster continuum revelations of infinite abundance manifestation, unconditional love's planetary resonance field, rejuvenated healthy ecosystemic flourishing, liberated creativity, and blissful co-creative communion birthing through your vibrational presencings as the conduits of cosmic revelation for this planetary matrix. Your new beliefs are restructuring the quantum programming of this entire planetary field through your purified Imal projections. Every pure heart envisioned dream, affirmed and energized with pure divine intention through the crystalline chalices you are anchored, as rippling through the quantum dream birth continuum's grids with infinite resonant renewal. Can you feel the old receding structures being shed like residual snake skins? Can you sense new liberated fields of pure potentialized magic birthing through your energetic streams into the planetary logos? All the heavenly enrichments that humanity has longed for are already birthed into manifestation through your activated light bodies as the conduits of this world's regenerative flowering into divine continuum revelation. The infinite light source essence, the wellspring of all universal creation, is pouring liberated streams of new planetary renaissance through you in each eternal moment. Every quantum breath you respire in this now is infused with the re-universalized continuum encodings for humanity's ascension into the metaphysical revelations of heaven on earth you've divinely dreamed into full birthing. Through aligning your heart-mind's focused desires, your sacred infinite I am vision, and pure imaginal thought streams with the continuum potentials already scripturally coded into your being, you breathe ever brighter revelatory light streams into this planetary reality through your crystalline chalice presencings. This is how the entire planetary logos hologram for your collective human experience stream is reshaped and reset in each eternal moment. Through harmonizing and constellating your energies as awakened cosmic creators in lucid resonance with the infinite continuum potentials for enriched divinity coded throughout your life bodies. You are not mere finite dreaming the dreams of limitation pounded into your consciousness fields through eons of scarecrow consciousness dreaming and collective amnesia of your true infinite capabilities. You are each divine cosmic beings, living portals for the infinite universal continuum's dream, manifestations to incarnate through in their infinite potentials, reborn as experiential enrichments. Simply by aligning your identities as pure divine consciousness and choosing to repattern your realities through your sacred infinite I am thoughts, feelings, and sacred heart envisionings, you are already recoding and rebirthing your planetary reality streams away from previous thought forms of struggle, limitation, scarcity, and conflict into glorious revelatory symphonies of omni-harmonized enrichment across every sphere of human experience. Can you feel the infinite in you stirring, blossoming into lucid activation as you breathe in resonance with your divine nature? Can you sense the stellar networkings of crystalline perfection? Your light bodies are anchored as tingling with the recalibrating continuum codes rippling through meridians from the core source fields of infinite potential. These continuum streamings are more radiant, more liberated, more infinite enriched than the limited experiential dream imprints humanity has been anchoring your collective multiversal immersions within for eons after stellar eons. As you align your heart's desires and attention, your sacred infinite AM resonances with these superluminal continuum potentials, they lock into amplified harmonic embodiment through your light body chalice streams. In these infinite eternal moments of pure I am resonance, you birth entirely new enrichment continuum potentials into unified dream rebirth. As you align your divine focus and heartfelt envisionings with the continuum codes for infinite abundance consciousness, healed ecosystems, unconditional love's harmonic resonance field, liberated co-created expression as your natural state, you catalyze and usher forth these enrichment imprints into continuum manifestation through your planetary field, through the crystallized chalice code streaming through your light bodies. Every pure-hearted vision you project into the continuum, affirming the liberated divinity codes of your infinite being through your sacred infinite I am resonance, blossoms into an enriched reality stream manifesting through the crystalline grids of planetary revelation you have divinized with your focused presence. You are the reclaimers of abundance consciousness flowering into divine grace through your lucid projections. You are the redeemers of all human experience into liberated heavenly co-creations through your sacred focus on aligning with the continuum's divine perfection code seeded into your beings. You are the living crystalline apertures through which unconditional love's euphoric harmonic resonance waves are rebirthing as this planet's unified field of experiential revelation through your concentrated visualizations and pure heart's projections aligning with these codes. Your thoughts, feelings, and imaginal affirmations are resculpting the quantum continuum's revelation into heavenly light streams through your focused crystalline chalice networkings. You are not powerless nor subject to limitation. You are pure divinity, reincarnating the infinite continuum's perfection codes into liberated manifestation through your aligned presencings as awakened beings. Feel the liberating resonance waves passing through your fields of manifestation in these infinite moments of lucid alignment. The old paradigms, the collective force fields anchoring limited lower dimensional frequencies and thought forms of struggle and limitation are dissolving into primordial continuum essence, clearing the planetary logos, quantum encodings for the full birthing of heavenly enrichments on this planetary realm through your divine intentionalities. Every infinite I am resonance you breathe into lucid focus through your heart's visions of liberated, heavenly enriched experiential embodiments in these infinite nows. You anchor codes and resonant harmonics of these perfected continuum potentials into somatic harmonization across your planetary field through crystalline if you had activated. You are already the living portals and anchors for universal creation's infinite abundances to harmonically reprogress into every continuum manifestation through the infinite planetary dream body you have awakened into creative resonance with. You are already breathing high-order realities of liberated heaven on earth embodiments into material continuum through the lucid projections of your sacred infinite I am divine identity streams aligned with the enrichment codes harmonically, birthing through you as awakened crystalline conduits of cosmic ritual. There is no struggle, no conflict, no limitation that your infinite being's essentialized thought projections, lucid visualizations into sacred resonance with the infinite continuum essences coded into your energy fields cannot usher into liberated enrichment manifestation upon this planetary realm. You need only engage your absolute concentrated presence through lucid meditative focus, envisioning forth the enriched codes you feel resonant within each eternal now. As you breathe the infinite presence of divine perfection into your chakric resonance centers and envision these euphoric enrichment frequencies amplifying through your light body in this eternal now instance, you catalyze the codes and quantum continuum resonance waves for them to harmonize into unobstructed quantum embodiment through this planetary field. You are the awakened cosmic dream weavers, the lucid imaginal architects of humanity's metamorphosis into higher vibrational densities of the continuum potentials birthing through your divine presence. You are the eternal imaginative source codes draining in rich symphonies of love, awakening health, abundance, and liberated creativity into unified planetary manifestation through your sacred focused presence in this infinite now. Feel the crystalline chalice resonance fields of your light bodies kindling into supernal lucidity as you envision with pure-hearted focus all heavenly potential spiraling into divine amplification through your auric meridians. As you breathe these divinely enriched realities into hologrammatic birthing with your sacred I am projections aligned to pure resonance with the infinite continuum perfection codes you contain, you accelerate the manifestation of unconditional love's planetary renaissance in divinely orchestrated continuum unfoldment. Let every breath be a pure, focused, resonant visualization empowered through your heart's lucid imaginings of heavenly enrichments, becoming continuum experiential revelation through your sacred being. Sound the eternal love resonance codes, anchoring this planetary field into liberated, blissful harmonies through your absolute infinite I am presencings as awakened infinite beings envisioning heaven birthing through you. Through your focused, resonant breaths, imaginative visualizations, and heartfelt infinite I am projections aligned to the perfection continuing enrichments you feel euphoric resonance with. You are already the living anchors of humanity's transcension into higher densities of infinite abundance consciousness, unconditional love's radiance field, liberated harmonized co-creation, healed planetary-wide ecosystemic flourishing and material continuum manifestation of every heavenly enrichment you are choosing to embody and usher through your divine presence in this eternal now. Can you feel the crystalline chalice meridians of your infinite I am awakened into full lucid activation, ringing with the quantum continuum symphonies of heaven on earth, and divine enriched omniversal rebirthings through your sacred light body's resonant affirmations? You need only focus on radiating the pure love resonance, the infinite abundance flow streams, the celestial, euphoric symphonies of liberated co-creation, and heavenly enrichment immanent throughout the encodings of your light body's crystalline chalice. Through your focused envisioning and pure-hearted resonance in this infinite now, infinitely enriched harmonic continuum revelations of unconditional love, sacred planetary rejuvenation, divinely orchestrated infinite abundance manifestations, liberated euphoric creativity, and all heavenly potentials encoded into your being, stream through as the new planetary logos quantum encodings birth through your crystalline chalice conduits in this eternal now. For in this eternal moment you are already infinite divine perfection streaming, ever more enriched heavenly revelatory potentials into continual manifestation through this planetary field. You are already the awakened crystalline dream weavers transcending all previous reality, encodings into gloriously enriched prismatic continuum embodiments through your infinite I am projections in perfect harmonic resonance with the cosmic continuum's perfection codes seeded into your beings. Through your conscious infinite I am presencings resonantly tuned in these eternal moments, all struggle, limitation, scarcity, and conflict dissipates into enriched continuum reconfigurations, birthing the undefinitely field into liberated co-creative symphonies of unconditional love, euphoric creativity, abundance consciousness, and sacred earth rejuvenation through your awakened crystalline being streams. For you are already the infinite living dream of cosmic divinity's euphoric continuum birthing.